Have you ever felt like your life was standing at a crossroads and you just didn't know which way to go? You've tried, you've hoped, you've done everything you could, but the results, they didn't show up the way you expected. And somewhere deep inside, you wondered, did I take the wrong path, or am I just missing something I haven't seen yet? If you've ever felt that way, then today's story might hold the answer you've been searching for. Once upon a time, by a quiet riverbank, there lived a kind old monk. Every morning, he sat in stillness, eyes gently closed, repeating a strange mantra over and over. Whatever you wish for, you will receive. Whatever you wish for, you will receive. People passing by would shake their heads. Some smiled with pity. Others thought he had lost his mind. No one really stopped to listen. Until one day, a young man disheveled, weary, weighed down by failures, was walking by. He no longer believed in luck, and even less in empty words. But something about the monk's voice made his heart pause. He stopped, bowed politely. "Sir, I heard you say that we'll receive whatever we wish for, so could you give me what I wish for?" The monk slowly opened his eyes and smiled gently. "Of course, I can give it to you. But first, tell me, what is it that you truly desire?" Without hesitation, the young man replied, "I want to be a successful merchant. I want to trade diamonds and pearls. I want to succeed." The monk nodded. "Good, then I will give you 2 precious treasures. If you keep them well and use them right, you can create as many diamonds and pearls as you wish." He then placed something invisible into the young man's left hand. "This is the most precious diamond in the world. Its name is time. Hold it tight. Don't waste it. Whoever values time can create anything." The young man looked confused, but the monk continued. He lifted the young man's other hand and placed another invisible gem into it. "And this is the second treasure, a pearl called patience. When you've given your time and effort, but the results still don't come, use this. It will steady your heart and carry you through until your efforts finally bloom." From that moment, something shifted in the young man. He bowed deeply, thanked the monk, and walked away, not with diamonds in his hands, but with a mind that had just awakened. He started over humbly working for a respected diamond merchant. He didn't complain, didn't fear hard work, and didn't expect quick rewards. He simply woke up earlier, worked harder, and waited longer than others. As time passed, many of his peers gave up, but he stayed the course. And slowly, like a flower blooming in its season, success began to show. Customers trusted him. His mentor believed in him. And in time, the young man who once had nothing became a prosperous trader in diamonds and pearls. It wasn't magic. It wasn't luck. It was 2 invisible treasures, time and patience, that we all carry within us. But so few actually treasure. And maybe this story could be any of ours. Because dreams really can come true if we treat time like the diamond it is, and grow patience like a pearl inside our hearts. And that brings us to the deeper part of this journey, the real lessons this story has for modern life. Are you ready to take that next step? 1. True success doesn't come from magic or shortcuts. Those who've been through life long enough know this. Success isn't some giant leap. It's a series of steady steps taken on a path no one else can see. Many people, especially in their later years, believe they've missed their chance, that they're too late, or they need some special opportunity to change their lives. But when they sit still for long enough, they begin to see the miracle isn't somewhere far away. It's in how we use each ordinary moment. Someone once asked, "Why haven't I succeeded? I've tried so many things." But the real question is, have we truly been consistent? Have we really made use of what we already have? As the Buddha once taught, do not overlook small things, for a large vessel is filled by drops of water. Likewise, no one reaches the destination in just one stride. Every effort, no matter how small, if done in the right direction, eventually adds up, but not everyone is patient enough to wait for the bloom. In one Dharma talk in California, a woman in her 60s shared, "I've spent my whole life waiting for the perfect opportunity to start over, to build something meaningful, but it never came." The monk gently asked, "Maybe it came, but it just wasn't wearing the outfit you expected?" Sometimes it's the quiet jobs, the daily routines, the little things we already know how to do that secretly build the foundation for real change. There's a Buddhist parable of a white elephant who carried the king. The handler kept rushing him, urging him to move faster. But the elephant stayed steady, slow, because he knew running too fast in mud only leads to slipping. Life is like that. It doesn't always need to be fast. It doesn't always need applause. It just needs the right direction and the willingness to keep walking even slowly every single day. No success is magic, and no path is made only of roses. But if each day we sow with the right actions, right thoughts, and right heart, then sooner or later, the flowers will bloom. If you're waiting for the perfect moment to start, just remember, there's no moment better than now, because now is all we really have. And if we use it wisely, patiently, and with persistence, then this very moment might be the beginning of something extraordinary. And when you walk this path, one without shortcuts, without stage lights, you'll get tired. You'll be tempted to quit. But if you can hold on to just one gem, called patience, you'll realize what you've been searching for isn't at the end of the path. It's already growing inside each step you take. Next, we'll take a closer look at that pearl, the second treasure the monk placed into the young man's hand. Don't look away, because the real journey is just beginning. 2. Time is the most precious diamond in our lives. There's a simple truth about life, but somehow it's the one we forget the easiest. You can rebuild a dream, but you can never reclaim a minute that's already gone. Time is something everyone has, but not everyone knows how to use it. Rich or poor, successful or struggling, we all get the same 24 hours in a day. The real difference lies in how we treat those hours. The Buddha once said, "Let not a single moment be wasted, for even one instant is more precious than a rare jewel." That teaching wasn't meant to stress us out, but to remind us, time is a diamond, sitting right in the palm of your hand. The question is, are you protecting it or letting it slip away? I remember once, at a Dharma talk, a man in his early 50s stood up and shared, "I just started reading again, just began learning meditation, just now began taking care of my health. I spent so many years just working, chasing money, and pouring my energy into stress and worry." He paused for a moment and then continued, "Looking back, the things I thought were important were actually just distractions from what really mattered. You can't change the past. But the real tragedy isn't what went wrong, it's when we don't learn from it." Just like the young man in our story, the one who received the diamond called time from the old monk. At first, he didn't get it. Not until he started working. Not until he watched morning after morning go by without progress. Not until he saw others quit halfway through. That's when it hit him. Every day that passes without growth is a diamond lost. So many young people full of talent delay their dreams because they think they have plenty of time. They wait for tomorrow. Wait for the right moment. but that tomorrow never comes, or it shows up in the form of regret. And there are others who feel like it's too late, like they've missed their chance. But the truth is, the moment they decide to show up fully for each remaining day, something beautiful starts to happen. Not because they did something spectacular, but because they began to truly live fully present in each passing minute. In Zen, there's a powerful question that's often asked. If today were the last day of your life, would what you're doing right now still be worth it? It's not meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. Wake you up to the treasure you already hold, time. Wake you up to the power of simple moments. A quiet morning, a slow walk through the park, a meal cooked with love, a hug given from the heart. Because when we live each moment with care, we're actually building a life of value from the diamond we already have. You don't need to make headlines. You don't need to be extraordinary. If your day isn't wasted, that alone is a huge victory. But of course, there will be days when you give everything. Your time, your heart, your energy, and still the results don't come. That's the moment when most people give up. But that's also exactly when you need the second treasure, the one the old monk quietly placed into the young man's other hand, the pearl called patience. 3. When you've given your best, but still don't see results, don't give up just yet. Let's be honest. Everyone at some point in life hits that quiet space. You've worked hard, stayed up late, woke up early. You've been patient, taken step after step. But still, nothing seems to change. Everything around you feels silent, unmoved. And then this little voice sneaks into your head. Am I on the wrong path? It's such a deeply human moment. But it's also the moment that draws the line between those who stop halfway and those who keep going long enough to see the light at the end. The young man in our story, the one who met the monk by the river, he faced the same thing. He had the diamond called time in his hand. He started over from scratch, worked hard, learned as much as he could. But for months, there were no results. No one noticed. No one praised him. What kept him going wasn't motivation. It wasn't praise. It was that second treasure the monk had placed in his other hand, the pearl of patience. In Buddhism, patience doesn't mean passive suffering. It's not about silently enduring. Chanti, as it's called in Sanskrit, is a powerful inner strength. It's the ability to stay centered even when things don't go your way. To stand steady while the world around you spins in chaos. There's a beautiful example from the scriptures. A man plants a seed in the soil. He comes back the next day, nothing. Day 3, day 5, day 10, still nothing. If he walks away too soon, that seed will rot in the soil and never become a tree. But if he's patient, waters it daily, keeps the soil warm, then one early morning, a sprout will appear, delicate as a strand of hair, yet powerful enough to move the heart of the one who cared for it. In today's world, we're used to everything happening instantly. Send an email, expect a reply now. Order something, want it delivered today. Even success is under pressure to show up fast, like some kind of express miracle. But lotus flowers don't bloom overnight. And true strength, the kind that lasts, doesn't come from a weekend workshop or a motivational video. The things that really matter, the real, meaningful things, they need time to take shape. And in that waiting, patience is what holds your heart together. I've met many older Buddhist students, some who started meditating at 60, others who first opened a Dharma book after retirement, and they often say the same thing. I wish I'd been more patient when I was younger. I gave up on things that could have brought me depth, Not because they weren't smart, but because they lost faith when results didn't come fast enough. It's like hiking up a mountain and turning back just before the summit because you couldn't see the view yet, even though it was just around the corner. So if you're putting in the work and the outcome still hasn't come, please don't see that as failure. See it as a part of the journey. Hold on to the pearl of patience. Stay steady even when no one else sees it. Because the truth is, the seeds you've planted have already been growing quietly. They're just waiting for the right season to bloom. And when you've truly honored your time like a diamond and held on to your patience like a sacred pearl, then success doesn't have to be chased. It arrives on its own, like a ripe fruit falling gently into the hands of the one who waited. Let's move into the next part of the story, where this young man finally reaches his dream, not by luck, but by honoring the two treasures we all carry inside. 4. In a world of rush and instant results, we live in a time where the world moves at a speed that sometimes the human heart just can't keep up with. A few seconds waiting for a website to load, people already get frustrated. A few days without results on social media, someone's ready to quit. And just a few months without life-changing breakthroughs, people start searching for a new direction faster, easier, something that looks more effective. This is the kind of era where, if the Buddha were still walking among us, he might offer a soft smile and gently remind us, those who chase illusions spend their whole life grasping at shadows. Real success never comes from rushing. And anything truly lasting, whether it's a career, health, relationships, or peace of mind, doesn't blossom in a single season of impatience. There was a story shared at a spring retreat in a Zen monastery in Oregon. A young student, after a few weeks of practicing meditation and chanting, came to his teacher and said, "Master, my mind still isn't calm. I've meditated, I've read scriptures, I've done everything, but I still feel restless, still overthinking everything." The teacher gave a quiet smile, gently placed a hand on the student's shoulder, and said, "You've planted a seed, but if you keep digging it up every day to check if the roots are growing, how can it ever survive?" That line still lingers in the hearts of many who've heard it, because it perfectly captures the mindset of our modern world. We want results now. We want our lives to change fast. We want success without having to walk through the time it takes to build it. But deep down, we all know the things that truly matter. They take time. If you want to cultivate patience, you'll have to live through seasons of silence. If you want a love that lasts, you'll have to weather the moments that aren't sweet. And if you want to live in peace, you'll have to learn how to sit with yourself in moments that feel anything but peaceful. People often say, "The world won't wait for you. If you don't move fast, you'll fall behind." But the real question is, behind compared to who? Compared to someone else's timeline? Or to the path you're truly meant to walk? There are people who seem ahead making money fast, gaining popularity quickly. But behind all that, they're silently cracking under pressure, sleep-deprived, lonely, constantly chasing a version of themselves that's always a little bit better than yesterday. And then there are those who walk slower, quieter, but they know exactly what they're doing with their time. They don't chase every opportunity. They don't panic at someone else's success, because they understand everyone has their own season to ripen. The beauty of a flower isn't in how quickly it blooms. It's in blooming at the right time. And the worth of a person isn't in how fast they succeed, but in how deeply they walk each step. So if you find yourself living in a rushed world, learn to pause. Pause to see where you're really going. Pause to notice what truly has value and what's just a passing illusion. Because if someone holds on to the same two treasures that the young man by the river once received, time and patience, then sooner or later, they'll reach what they've been wishing for. Not because they got lucky, but because they grew it from strong roots within themselves. And when that journey is walked with time treated like a diamond, and patience guarded like a sacred pearl, then the miracle begins. Not from the outside, but from within. Let's continue to the next part of the story, where this young man is no longer just a student, but becomes the very person who creates diamonds and pearls with his own two hands. 5. No dream ever comes true if it only stays a dream. Everyone's had a dream at some point. Maybe it's opening a little food stand and cooking your favorite dish with your own hands. Maybe it's writing a book, telling the story of your life. Or maybe it's something simpler, just living a peaceful life. Not rushed, not forced, not trying so hard to please the world. But time passes, and that dream? It stays there beautiful, yes, but covered in dust. Because between dreaming and doing, there's a gap. And that gap can only be filled with one thing: action. The Buddha once said, "There is no path to enlightenment except the one you're walking," which means no one can walk it for you. No one can live this life for you. And no dream will ever come true if it's just something you keep talking about when you're feeling low. A Buddhist student once said, "I want to live more mindfully. I want to meditate regularly. I want to take better care of myself. But I'm always busy, always tired. I don't even know where to start." The teacher just smiled and replied, "Start with the first 5 minutes of your day. You don't have to sit for long. You don't need to read thick books. Just do it consistently, without skipping. Small, but steady. That's where the real power is. Like water dripping on stone. Not strong, but day after day, it leaves a permanent mark. Every small action is like planting a seed in the ground. A kind word today, a healthy choice tomorrow, a quiet, unhurried morning. That's how we build a life with roots." In today's world, people often wait for motivation to strike before starting. But motivation? It's fleeting. What really matters is inner discipline, knowing where you want to go and choosing to move, even if the sky is gray, even if no one is cheering you on, even if you're still doubting yourself. Dreams don't grow just in the mind. They grow through small daily actions. When you finally decide not to delay anymore. A student at the monastery once shared, "On my first day at work, I was terrified, but I remembered the teacher's words. Just keep your heart straight, keep your efforts steady, everything else will flow." 3 years later, not only did he become good at what he did, he also began helping others who were struggling at the beginning, just like he once did. Not everyone starts strong, but those who reach the end are always the ones who chose to take steady steps, again and again. In Buddhism, we call that right effort. Not extreme, not self-punishing, but steady, conscious, and committed. So if you're still holding on to a dream, don't let it stay locked inside your mind. Even one small step today. Write one sentence from the book you've always wanted to write. Sit in silence for 5 minutes tomorrow morning. Make that phone call you've been putting off. No one succeeds from just one big decision, but they do from 1,000 tiny choices in the right direction. And when those actions become steady, when you live in alignment with what you believe, success won't feel like some distant goal anymore. It will begin to show up right in the middle of your ordinary days. 6. The young man learned how to turn two treasures, time and patience, into a great life. There's something quietly miraculous about life, something most people don't see right away. Not everyone is born with the tools for success, but anyone can start over if they learn to use what they already have the right way. The young man in the story, the one who received the treasures from the Zen master, wasn't special. He didn't have wealth. He didn't have powerful connections. He didn't even have a strong education. The only thing he really carried with him was a sincere heart and a simple question: can I become a better person? When the master placed two treasures into his hands, time and patience, he probably didn't fully understand their meaning at first. Only when he started working, only after long days of labor with no recognition and nights falling asleep without seeing progress, did he begin to realize these two things, invisible to the eye, were actually the very foundation for everything. Time is a precious resource. No one can give you more of it. Each day that passes is something you don't get back. But if used well, even a single moment can become a brick that builds a strong future. Patience is the quiet strength to keep going when life hasn't answered back yet. It's the soft but steady power of someone who knows real results never arrive too soon. The young man chose the hard road, starting from the very bottom as an apprentice. He didn't rush. He didn't look for shortcuts. He didn't complain about repetitive tasks. He simply kept learning, observing, refining his skills every day. While others slept, he studied. While others gave up, he tried again. While others waited for miracles, he laid each stone with his own two hands. One day, a wealthy customer came to the shop. He learned that this young man had once had nothing and asked, "How did you manage to get here?" The young man just smiled and said, "I didn't move faster than others. I just didn't stop." Simple words, but they hold a truth only experience can teach. You don't need to take giant leaps. You just need to keep taking small steps consistently. In Buddhism, we call it step-by-step practice. It's not about forcing yourself, but about living each day with awareness. One small step in the right direction is more valuable than 1,000 frantic steps that lead nowhere. The young man, once a confused soul sitting by a river, eventually became a respected merchant, not just because he earned material success, but because he understood what true success was built on. Understanding the truth, applying it, and never letting go of the basics. His success didn't come from one dramatic moment. It came from thousands of ordinary moments that he chose to make meaningful. He never lost the diamond time, and he never dropped the pearl patience. But what's most powerful about this story is that it's not just his story. Those same two treasures, they're already in your hands, too. The only question is, will you be clear-eyed enough to see them and sincere enough to start using them? 7. Most people don't fail because they lack talent, but because they either waste time or lose patience too soon. Sometimes, failure doesn't come from not being smart enough, skilled enough, or lucky enough. Sometimes, people fail simply because they give up too soon. The truth is, success often shows up later than we expect. And those who succeed aren't always the best or the brightest. They're often just the ones who kept going when others already stopped. There's a story that many Buddhist practitioners have heard. A man was digging a well. He dug for a while, didn't find water, and moved to another spot. Same thing, no water. So he started over again in yet another place. Months went by. He had dug a dozen holes, and all he had were shallow, dry pits. Someone else came along, picked one spot, and kept digging deeper every day. Eventually, the water rose. The real question isn't who worked harder, but who had the patience to keep going. through the early disappointments. In everyday life, we see the same thing. People start out excited, full of motivation, but then a few small failures happen. A few harsh comments. A few weeks go by with no progress, and they give up. And maybe, just maybe, if they had taken one more step, things could have turned around. The Buddha said, "Nothing meaningful is ever accomplished without steady accumulation." And more importantly, time doesn't wait for anyone. Some people keep waiting for the perfect moment, waiting until they're less busy, until they have more money, more energy, more clarity. And one day, they look back and realize 10 years have passed. I've spoken to many people in their 50s and 60s, and there's one thing they often say: "I wish I had started sooner." Not because they weren't capable, but because they let too much time slip by. Second-guessing, overthinking, delaying. On the flip side, some people quit halfway and start judging their results too early. "It's been 3 months, and I see nothing. I've been working so hard, but no one even notices." But they forget, seeds need time to sprout, and trees bloom only when the season is right. There's a young entrepreneur I once met who told me, "I almost quit because everything was moving too slowly." But then a friend said to me, "You're digging for gold. If you stop now, you'll only go home with rocks." That line shook him awake, and just a few months later, his first big opportunity arrived. Not because he was lucky, but because he didn't stop right before the breakthrough. That's one of life's biggest regrets. Giving up when the thing you were chasing was just a few steps away. There are plenty of people with talent, but only a few have the endurance, the ability to respect each day, and keep going long enough to let dreams become reality. There's no red carpet path laid out for anyone, only steady steps. Sometimes quiet, always determined. And sometimes victory doesn't come from running faster, but from simply staying in the game longer. So, if today you're feeling tired, discouraged, or ready to quit, ask yourself, have I really honored the time I've been given? Have I truly stayed patient long enough? When we look back at the young man in the story of the Zen master, most of us see a bit of ourselves. We've had doubts, we've rushed, we've waited for magic, and forgotten the two real miracles already in our hands: time and patience. No dream becomes reality through hope alone. No success shows up with just the first step. Every beautiful thing needs time to grow and patience to bloom. So if today you're still waiting for something to change, start with the simplest thing. Treasure every moment and keep going, because that's how your path will quietly open. Not loud, not fast, but steady enough to carry you all the way. If today's words resonated with you, please subscribe to the Buddhism Seeds channel. Click like, share this video with someone who might need it, and leave a comment below. Are you holding the diamond of time or the pearl of patience? Thank you for listening, and may you walk strong on the path that's truly your own.